Welcome to Mommy Space, the podcast for moms of all stages. My name is Aubrey Coots, and this podcast was created to give moms a voice to share their experiences and to share that there's not just one way to be a mom. This is a place where you can learn to love the woman inside the mother. Welcome back to Mommy Space. This is Aubrey, and today I am interviewing my friend Jess Provencher, and she is a sweet mama that I've known since college, and she lives in Kentucky now, but we went to church together for a few years, and I'm so excited to have her on the podcast today. So Jess, welcome to Mommy Space.
Thanks.
So as we get started, if you could start off just by sharing a little about yourself, about your family, where you're located, and the story of your journey into motherhood.
Okay. Yeah. So I grew up in Sacramento, California, and I moved to Riverside for college and went to Cal Baptist. And while I was there, I got my bachelor's in fine art, and I met my husband, Devin. And after we graduated, we joined staff with a college ministry and got married, and did ministry for 3 years, which was just a super sweet time to get to work with friends, and just doing ministry full time. And our last year on staff there, we got pregnant with our daughter, Lucy. And right before she was born, we transitioned out of our time in campus ministry. And so I just got to be a stay-at-home mom. Newborn babies sleep a lot. And so like, I had a lot of time to do what I loved, which was art. And so during that time, like Lucy's first year, I really started developing my own style and like getting to do more with my art. Yeah. And then about a year after that, almost a year later, we moved to Louisville, Kentucky, where we're at now, for my husband to pursue his master's degree. And so we're here in Louisville. And then almost a year ago now, we had our son Liam, and he will be 1 in 2 weeks, which I'm not ready for. So Lucy is 3 and Liam's almost 1, and I get to stay home with them and make art when they sleep.
Yeah. I love that. I love that when I asked you too, like if you would want to be interviewed, you're like, I pretty much just work on it when they're asleep. I'm like, that's perfect. That's exactly what we want to hear, because a lot of stay-at-home moms are like, there's no way I could ever do anything else, or I could never do anything I'm passionate about. But that's realistic. So I'm excited to hear more about that. So that being said, what made you decide to start your business, or maybe start pursuing art even more? And how has that been in the midst of mom life?
Yeah. Okay, that's funny. So when you asked me to, I was like, I don't have a business. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I know.
I forget, I guess it is a business, but like to me, it's just like, this is my hobby, and I guess people sometimes pay me for it.
Which is the best kind of business, right?
Yeah, right. So I guess, I don't know, it doesn't feel like I ever like decided, to start pursuing it.
Yeah.
But I guess like how I got to where I am now with it. So yeah, I mean, I've always like been creative and done art things. I did art in college. But like, so I think a few months before Lucy was born, I had the opportunity to join the creative team with Illustrated Faith, which was so fun. And so I got to help promote their products and make all kinds of fun artsy things. And I think doing that, like I had just come from doing 3 years of campus ministry to being a stay-at-home mom. And so I think that was like so important for me, because it was like being able to take, I wasn't just like sitting at home anymore, but being able to take like the things that I was passionate about, like my art and about the gospel, and like being able to combine those and reach out to women. And I got to write blog posts, and I got to write a devotional with them. And so really I like in that time, it was way more about like the ministry of making art than it was about making art, but it was really fun because I got to do my art too. But like being on the creative team like grew my social media presence, I guess, and gave me like a platform to be able to communicate truth, which is just so cool. And I think because of that, like, sorry, this is like a tangent, but
no, it's okay, it's great,
leads up to it, I guess. So yeah, like right around that time, I also started working on like a personal project, illustrating the alphabet. And to me, it was like, I want to grow as an artist. I want to learn more about illustrating. If this turns out cool, maybe I'll print it for Lucy and it'll be a fun like alphabet book for Lucy.
Yeah.
Um, and by the time I finished it, like almost 2 years later, like it had become this huge thing on my Instagram account that like people were following it and were so excited. And I had people like giving me ideas for all the letters. And so by the time I finished it, everyone's like, you have to print this as a book. And so I was
Yeah.
like, okay. And so I decided to create a Kickstarter, which I am like still cannot believe that this happened. Like I think it was funded within 5 hours.
Oh my gosh.
I still have no idea how that happened. Yeah, so I like self-published an ABC book, and so those were printed and like all got here a year and a half. No, just about a year ago now, a little over a year ago, because it was right before Liam was born.
Okay.
Um, and now, so I'm not on the creative team with Illustrated Faith anymore, but I design bi-monthly products for their print and pray shop. So they're kind of like scrapbook pieces, but for Bible journaling. And so that's still like getting to use my art to share the gospel, like through Bible journaling, which is so cool. Um,
Yeah.
and then also have been able to, in the past year, work on a board book series of books for toddlers about theology. And so I don't know, with all of that, it doesn't feel like a business. It's just like getting to do what I love and then somehow getting paid for it.
Okay, so I know one of your projects that you just said, the board books for toddlers on theology. Can you expand? Like, what are you working on with that?
Yeah. So my husband actually wrote them. So we are working with Crossway, and my husband wrote the books, and I got to illustrate them. And it's a series of books just supposed to be introducing theology to toddlers. And so the first 3 books are coming out in February, and they'll be on God, Jesus, and the gospel. And if those go well, then hopefully we'll be able to do more books and add more books to the series. But it's super cool.
Yeah.
I'm really excited.
Cool. Well, I am very excited for those board books. I've been seeing you post a little bit on some of the illustrations for it and even just the topics, and I'm excited to get those for my kiddos. So we'll keep an eye out for those coming February of next year. All right. So my next question for you is with illustrating. I know you said, you're mostly working on stuff while your kids are asleep.
Mhm.
What does a typical day look like for you? And that can include brainstorming while they're awake. But just what does kind of like the day-to-day look like for you?
Yeah. So I've tried to wake up early to get some time to read before they're awake, which for some reason is so much harder with 2 kids than it was with one.
Yeah.
So try and do that. Get breakfast and lunch made for Devin before he leaves for work or for school. Um, and then Liam usually wakes up at 7:30 to nurse, and Lucy wakes up at 8. And then I just get to be mom, make
Yeah.
snacks, and play dress up, change a lot of diapers, just be mom.
Yeah.
While the kids are awake, then I try to be really intentional to get any chores or errands done that I can, so that when they're sleeping, that I can do art. And so that means, I guess a lot of the chores happen while Liam is taking his morning nap. And so then I've kind of tried to incorporate Lucy into them and have her help me do
Yeah.
whatever chores that she can. And then I've tried to schedule their afternoon nap so that it's at the same time. So
Yeah.
then I have like 2 hours in the afternoon to work, which that does not always work. It did not work today. There's a little bit of chaos around here, but that's life. And then in the evenings when they go to bed, well, I guess, sorry, brainstorming, I guess. I hadn't even thought about that. But Liam, bless his little heart, still nurses for 2 hours every single night.
Oh gosh. But plenty of
Every
brainstorm time.
single night. So yeah, I do like I'll take notes or like look if I need like reference images, I'll find all of those while I'm nursing. So I try and use that time if I can, or read while I'm nursing, because that sweet boy just loves nursing.
Yeah.
So he nurses for like 2 hours every night. And then after that, I'll spend time doing artwork, which really has been like such a blessing. As I was thinking about this, like Devin being in school right now means that he's like writing papers and reading books like a lot of the time late at night. And so I'm not just sitting there like watching him and pouting and being sad. Like I have something that I'm working on too. And so it's actually like
Yeah.
so sweet that, yeah, we're able to sit and work together. Our desks are next to each other. And so it's like
Aw.
studying in college, and I don't know, it's really sweet. Like, I was thinking like, man, what's going to happen when he graduates? Like, then he's going to be like sad that I'm working all the time.
Yeah, he'll need to find a hobby or a big stack of books or something.
Yeah, get him writing.
Yeah. That's awesome. Cool. Well, thanks for sharing. Just I'm always curious for, moms that are pursuing a passion, like what does that look like? And even for myself, it's like I want to learn how to do that better.
Yeah.
So even just very practically, like, yeah, do chores and errands while your kids are awake so that you can work on something that you enjoy and not chores while
Yeah.
they're asleep.
And grocery pickup. Like, I don't know who invented that, but it's the best
Oh
thing
man, I know. I've been doing that with Target, which I know isn't groceries, but I
no,
enjoy
but
I enjoy grocery shopping. But little stuff that I just need to like pick up, I'm like, man, lifesavers.
yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, so with illustrating and doing what you do, what has been one of the best things and one of the hardest things about working on that from home while being a mom, and how have you worked to overcome that?
I think the best thing, like, this is maybe cliche, but just being able to be home with my babies and be here like all day long. I know that's probably such a cliche answer, but it really is just so sweet getting to be here, and they drive
Yeah.
me crazy most days. But it's such a gift to be their mama, and it's just the Lord's kindness that I really get to pursue what I love and still be here with them. And um yeah, I just get to be to, to watch them grow and learn and get to be here for those things. Yeah, I feel like that's
Yeah.
the best part.
Yeah, definitely.
And the hardest part, I feel like I'm just constantly questioning, like, am I enough? Am I doing enough? Like, am I working too much? Am I not playing enough? Which I'm sure every mom feels that way, whether they're working or not. And the reality is, I cannot do everything perfectly, which is so hard for me. Like, I'm such a type A. I want it all perfect and orderly and checked off.
Uh,
Um, but that's not gonna happen. And trying to do everything, just it's not gonna happen. Yeah. And I think especially in the past like 3 or 4 months, as I've pushed hard to meet deadlines for the books that we've been working on. Like, I've just been under so much stress. I told Devin, like, I don't think I've ever been so stressed for like such an extended period of time while I was working on those, and even doing something I love. Like, I feel like I was constantly questioning myself and like, am I staying up too late so I'm too tired with my kids the next day?
yeah.
All of that. I think just overcoming that, like, I'm still working on that. But I think a huge thing has been Devin's help in reminding me, like, to focus on the things that matter, and reminding me that, like, I am doing an okay job, and that God's grace covers the parts where I'm not. But yeah, just him being gracious with me has been so helpful, and just reminding me, like, it's okay if the floors aren't mopped this week, or if the laundry takes a few extra days to get put away. Like, it's so
Right.
much more important for me to get time in the Bible or playing with my kids, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a great point.
Like, Lucy needs me to sit down and play dress up with her little minis so much more than I need like a super clean kitchen, you know?
Yeah.
I'm sure all moms feel that too, but yeah, I'm learning to have grace with myself. Like, it's okay if the house is not sparkling clean, and it's okay to ask for an extension on a deadline if I need to, and it's okay if we have Chick-fil-A for dinner again.
Amen.
But only Chick-fil-A, because that's a healthy fast food, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. That and In-N-Out, but sorry,
Oh
I don't
my
think they have
god,
that.
the real reason we miss California.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, no, that's a great point, and it for sure is super helpful to have a husband that's supportive of what you're doing and understands, that, it's okay if some of those other little things don't happen up to your standard. And that's typically what it is. And I'm the same way. It's like, this is my standard for how I want to be as a mom, as a wife, as a friend. And then
Yeah,
I'm like, think that I'm letting everyone down when really I'm the only one that like has that expectation. So
yeah,
that is super helpful to have, a spouse that reminds you of that, and reminds you to have grace for yourself. And yeah, like you said, it's
yeah,
like sitting down and playing, Minnie Mouse dress up. Like those are moments that you're going to remember, and you're not going to be like looking back like, man, I'm just so glad that I mopped the floors every week.
Yeah. Oh my
You
gosh.
know, like, no, you're not that's always going to be there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a great reminder. This is kind of a random question that I'm just
Mhm.
throwing out, but I'm just curious, out of like all the projects that you've done, like with the ABC
Mhm.
book and now with the theology books, and
Yeah.
even, I mean, I have a cute little book called Hello Riverside
Oh
that you
my
wrote
gosh.
for. What has been like one of your favorite
Mhm.
projects?
Mhm. Man, I feel like the books for Crossway because the series we're working on, like, if you had asked me 2 years ago what the biggest dream for my art was, like, I would have said 2 things, and the first would be either illustrating books that Devin wrote, or I would have said illustrating for Crossway, and I feel like I thought those would happen, like, decades later in my life, like, when I
Yeah.
was way older, and I can't believe, like, I'm 28 years old, and I am, like, getting to illustrate with Crossway, and their books that Devin wrote, like, pinch me. This is it, like,
Yeah.
like, I don't know what, like, where do I go from here? Like, this is, like, the biggest dream that I could have dreamed of with my art, and it's been hard, but really good work. Like, I've learned so much through the process, and it's just been so cool getting to work on them, and I'm still, like, so in awe about it, and so, I mean, definitely those books.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that totally makes sense. And not that it's, everyone's situation that your dreams are going to come true in 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's super cool that you just kept pursuing your passion and working hard with illustrating and kind of, making time for that. And
Mhm.
it's cool that the Lord allowed you guys to have this opportunity so soon. Like you said, it's like,
Yeah.
you're 28 years old and you're like, I did not expect this already, but it's kind
Yeah.
of cool to think like, who knows where this project will even take you guys down the
Mhm.
road.
Yeah.
Yeah. With that, and it kind of segues into my next question. What advice would you give to other mamas who are wanting to work doing something they're passionate about while raising their kids?
Yeah. Um, I think something I, like, always tell people who are like, "How did you get there with art?" Like, just don't be afraid to try, like, just try. Pursue your
Yeah.
passions and, like, go after things. Like, I mean, it's a lot longer story of how we got the book deal with Crossway, but it all started because I had one contact who gave me the email address of the guy in charge of art at Crossway, and I emailed him my portfolio and was like, "Hey, would you consider like me as an illustrator in the future?" And he emailed me back 4 minutes later and was like, "I want to talk to you on the phone."
Oh my
Like,
gosh.
what? Like, all because I sent him an email. Like, I could have waited around for so long for someone to find my art, but, like, just going after, like, if you want to do something, then, like, try it and see, like, just put yourself out there. So I feel like that would be the first thing, but then the second thing that I'm also constantly reminding myself is, like, not to forget to save your little ones,
Yeah.
like, there is so much I could do even now to make myself more successful as an artist or to grow my social media following, and that's something I've really wrestled with as well, but, like, I'm constantly reminding myself that I have so much life. I mean, hopefully, I have so much life that I can become successful later, but, like, right now, I only have these little years with my babies once, and I don't want to miss that, and so I guess the advice I would say is, like, go after your dreams and pursue them, but also don't forget, like, you have time to pursue them and, like, don't forget to savor this time too.
Yeah, that's a great reminder. I feel like this past week my oldest turned 5, and I mean, granted, I got him when he was almost 4. So it was a little bit of a different situation. But I feel like even in the last year, I've been like, man, time is going by so fast. And he's starting kindergarten, and then my next is starting preschool. And yeah, I feel like it's hitting me like I do want to be better at savoring those little moments, because these years are already going by so fast, and I've only, known my kids for about a year and a half. So yeah, that's a great reminder to go for it and to not be afraid to do that, but also to savor time with our little ones. So yeah, thanks for that.
Yeah.
So the final question I have for you is, what is the legacy you want to leave for your children?
Yeah, I just hope that they see, like, anytime that I have not been enough or that I fail or anytime that, like, I've made sacrifices that affect them, like, I hope that they see, the beauty and the value of the gospel in that. So whether that's that they see that my art has been for the gospel or they see, just the grace that covers my failures. I just hope that they see the gospel lived out in our family and in our life. And like Devin and I were talking about recently, how cool it's going to be like when they grow up and are, I mean, in junior high or high school or adults and can look back like on these series of books that we're working on right now and be like, we were little kids when like our parents wrote these books for us. Like,
Yeah.
like we were doing this for them, like being able to communicate the gospel in language that they're going to understand. And so I hope that like in everything that I do, that they see like mom was making all of this art to communicate the gospel, and like that's what matters most. Yeah, so I hope that that's what they see. And also like I really hope to be able to show them, like, with the way that I live my life, that, like, they can pursue the things that they love and that God can totally use those, to be glorified through their hobbies. Like, it's just so amazing, like, the opportunities that God has given me, to be able to use my art for Him. Like, I never would have expected that I could be doing all of the little things that I get to do, and be doing it for Him. And so I hope that they see that whatever they grow up liking, that there's always a way that God can use those things in their lives to, yeah, speak gospel truth into other people's lives too.
Yeah. Yeah. That's super cool. That's a great reminder too. Like, um, yeah, it doesn't just have to be that you're, a great illustrator to be able to use it for sharing the gospel or for glorifying God, but even for other moms listening to think about, what are hobbies that they have that they can use for that purpose, like if they are believers, and then to pass that on to their kids. So thanks for sharing that. That's great. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. I did want to ask for those that are on social media, those that are listening, where can we find you?
Yeah. My Instagram is jessica.robin, Robin with a Y, so it's jessica.robyn. And the link to my website is probably longer than you want me to spell out.
You can, I'll put it in the show notes. So anyone
Okay.
listening, check out the show notes and I'll have the link in there for Jess's website. Yeah, that's totally fine. Great. Well, thanks, Jess, for being on the show. And thanks for those that are listening. Bye. Thank you so much for listening. Be sure to check out all of the goodness from today's episode on the show notes and share this with a friend if it impacted you in any way. You can also leave a review on iTunes so other mamas can join in the movement of loving the woman inside the mother. Join our online Mommy Space community every day by following us on Instagram at Mommy Space, that's MOMMI space, where you can interact with me, some of our past guests, ask simple or hard questions, and give your valuable input on how to make Mommy Space an even more beautiful, safe place for mamas all over the world. All my love to you, mama. You are enough.
She knows her heart and what it wants. Already counted up the cost. In the middle of something, balanced budget for the towels. Interruptions, part of it now. Clock strikes 12, there's no magic wearing off. Hand to the plow. The original boss, yeah, the original boss. You got your work cut out, mama. You already did. How do you do it, mama? You listen closely, let go of the little things. Hearts stay open.